Hello there, Commanders, and welcome to SUNTZU Invitational III announcement. Today marks the 11th anniversary of SUNTZU, so I decided to organize a tournament to commemorate such an epic occasion and to give back to the community that we are a part of. Now let me guide you through this document I have put together very quickly, because, well, sadly I was ill after my vacation, so it delayed pretty much everything for me because I could barely function. So I'm really sorry for that. But let's read the premise about what this tournament is all about. SUNTZU Invitational III is a Total War Arena tournament aimed to unite the community and promote the game among the Western community. Probably shouldn't have written community twice, that's kinda lame. Players sign up to the tournament individually and will be drafted into one of 4 teams by their pre-selected captains. This means it's a perfect opportunity to take part in competitive arena battles without having to be a part of a large enough pre-organized team. So if you don't get it, the main difference between this tournament and regular tournaments is that you do not need to be a part of a team, like for example SUNTZU, where we enter a tournament as a group of 10 or 15 people, and maybe you're part of a clan, a team, or whatever you want to call it, that isn't large enough to take part in a tournament. And let's say you have only 6 people and you need at least 8, and then those 6 people, even though they would like to take part in a tournament, they can't. So this is where SUNTZU Invitational comes in. It's the 3rd iteration of it, and rules are pretty much always the same, at least with that it's all individual sign-ups. So as long as you have time on the day of the tournament and the required tier of units, you can participate. And then we have 4 captains already selected. They will go into a snake draft and draft you into their teams. Pretty straightforward. So, sign up link is over here, as you can see. Discord link, you'll need to join it because all the communication will be there between you, your team, and your captain, and also just the voice communication during battle. Then let's go for a format day. It's 1-day tournament, 15th of August, which is Sunday next week. Time, well, this is across multiple time zones. We want people from Asia, Europe, and both Americas. I guess Africa, Australia as well, all 6 continents essentially. So this time that we have here is essentially the only time that works. A little bit later, and it's too late for Southeast Asia. Do it earlier, and it's too early for America. So it's really the only time frame that you can do it, especially considering that the tournament is going to last about 4 to 6 hours. That's my prediction. So we have 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Central European time, and 9 p.m. Chinese time. If you're not in one of those time zones, go figure out which time zone you're in and how it correlates to these time zones. I guess I should have included GMT, so I'm doing it now. It's 1 p.m. GMT. There we go. Now you know. So you should know that your time zone is GMT plus or minus something, and then calculate the time for you. The draft will be a day earlier, just to give you as much time as possible to sign up. As I was ill, everything got delayed, so yeah, it's less than ideal, but it is the best we can do, I guess. You know, min-maxing the time of preparation, especially since it's for fun tournament. You don't need to prepare that long. You just need to, you know, captains need to ask people what they have, what they want to play, etc., and then put together a team with that knowledge. And the draft is subject to change, but it's rather the time that is subject to change, not the day. So until the time of the draft, you have time to sign up. Number of teams, 4, that's obvious. I mean, mentioned earlier. Battle size is going to be max 8 versus 8, but if we don't get enough signups, we are flexible and can decrease it. There's 1 captain and 1 caster per team. So let me explain this, because it actually isn't mentioned here, which I should have mentioned, but I didn't. But that's because it's flexible, as I mentioned, so it's not 100% certain that it's going to be that way. It all depends on the number of participants. So the captain can be, but doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, if it will be that way, it will be for all the captains, not a per captain decision. Essentially, captain will be also an observer and will just issue orders and coordinate the team without playing the units themselves. But if we don't have enough participants, then the captains will just play as a normal player, part of the team. So there are two options there. If we have enough people, then the captains will take a back seat and essentially just lead you without leading the units themselves. If not enough people sign up, captains will be normal players. Essentially that. So, group stage is best of 2 single round robin. Could have been best of 1 double round robin, which would be better for the tournament overall, but it's worse for tournament length, because then more delays pile up, essentially, because you have 6 rounds instead of 3. So this is to reduce the time of the tournament, essentially. And then knockout stage after the group stage, best of 3 final and third place match. So essentially the final is played between the 2 best teams, and third place match between third and fourth team. So if you sign up, you are guaranteed minimum 8 battles, 9 if best of 3 goes to 2-1, essentially. So everybody who signs up is going to get roughly the same amount of battles. I think that's really good. Then we have captains and their teams. We have Arclinon, Astolfo, Crisis and Cheddar. Arclinon leads Team Sarmatian Lances, Astolfo Balearic Slingers, Crisis obviously Triarii, Cheddar Eberron's Marksman. They may still change those names, but for now that's what they are. And then casters will be me, George and Sigerion. We are still looking for a 4th caster, so it is, as it says here, to be decided. Hey, if you, the guy who is watching it, wants to be a caster, hit me up. We'll see. And then schedule. Group stage, best of 2. So we have round 1, match 1, Submission Lances vs. Balearic Slingers, map Oasis, etc. Let's not go through all of this. But the maps are Oasis, Elpis Graia, Salernum, Hadrian's Wall, Giantband Rubicon. Obviously, it's not very good that every single match is on a different map, and teams fight on different maps. But it's a for fun tournament, so we are getting away with it, essentially. Then we have the knockout stage, third place match. Both third place match and final will be played on Vesuvius, the new map, and that map is honestly amazing. It's really well balanced. So if that was Persia that was released, and it was Mekale, I would have considered if I should have done that with Mekale, because Mekale is heavily imbalanced. But with Vesuvius, they don't have such a problem. It's the newest map, and it's also possibly the greatest map. Well, I think it is the greatest, but let's say I haven't done such extensive testing yet, but so far, I think it's my favorite. Haven't changed my opinion on that yet. And it's a very good tournament map as well, because it's really balanced for both teams. So picking one side over the other doesn't give you any advantage, and it's all down to team skill. So let's scroll down. Now battle rules. Unit tier 7. Probably should have mentioned that at the very beginning, because that's quite important. You need to be tier 7 to be able to participate in this tournament. And to make it easier, normally there will be no premium units, but it is a for fun tournament. There are no stakes, no rewards other than the eternal glory of being part of the winning team. So premium units are allowed, aka pay to win units. Well, some or most of them anyway. Then no stakes, no barricades, because we want to have fun. Same with no light artillery and no heavy artillery, because we want to have fun in this tournament. And then max 2 identical commanders, because we don't want to see a team full of Leonidases, because that would be kind of unfair and also boring, and we want to have fun. and max 6 identical units, so we don't get another spam of some sorts. Yeah, essentially it. Ideally, maybe I would have changed to max 1 identical commander and max 3 identical units, but considering that the teams are random, I don't want these rules to limit people from participating, because maybe some of you will have only 1 or 2 commanders and units, and then you can somehow exclude each other with another person of your, on your team. Don't want that to happen, so these rules are lenient enough to, I think, allow everybody to play. Now, capturing in a base equals 3,500 victory points tickets. That is important for the tiebreaker rules. And then after the lobby has been hosted by one of the casters, captains have 5 minutes to submit a roster of players and their units and commanders, which means it is a blind pick, because blind pick is the fastest way to go, and we want this tournament to be as short as possible time-wise, because again, we are organizing it across 3 different, very different time zones, 3 major time zones, I guess. But yeah, as you can see, there's 15 hours of difference between Pacific time and Chinese time, and can be even more if somebody is from Japan or Australia, for example. So yeah, take that into consideration. That's why 5 minutes of preparation. If the team fails to submit the roster within 5 minutes, or the captain fails to submit the roster within 5 minutes, I guess that would be a default loss, because we really cannot afford any delays. So 5 minutes of preparation, and then, or 5 minutes to submit, because the preparation should have been done earlier, and then 25 to 30 minutes for a match. Usually it takes that long, unless it's a one-sided stomp or a base capture is involved. And then group stage rules to determine the seeding for the knockout stage. Winning a match is 2 points, draw is a 1 point, loss is 0 points. Essentially, 1 win equals 1 win of a battle equals 1 point. Very straightforward. And then in case of a tie between 2 or more teams, which obviously can happen, a tiebreaker will be decided by the results of the matches between those teams. So let's say 3 teams are tied, then you take their individual results between only those 3 teams. If that doesn't decide, then we look at the amount of tickets, and there's pretty much no way this is not going to resolve the tie, because even 1 ticket more or less here and there can make the difference, and it's very, very, very unlikely that somehow the teams will have equal number of tickets. But if that happens, then well, they'll play a best of 1 match over Vesuvius. But shouldn't happen, and that shouldn't prolong the tournament. That's why you have the ticket rule, essentially. An additional rule: in the first battle of the match, the team on top of the bracket takes the left side. So essentially, here on the left, so Sarmatian Lances takes the left side, team 1 side, blue side, call it whatever you want. And then, for the next battle, the team swap. So also straightforward. And then knockout stage rules: higher seed team picks the side of the map they wish to play on for the first and third battle, while the lower seed team picks the side for the second battle. Also straightforward. You got first in the group stage, you get that slight advantage of picking the side of the map you prefer, but on Vesuvius it doesn't really matter, because they're very, very, very symmetrical with just the tiniest of differences. But if you prefer some of those differences, then go for it. That's your reward for getting the first seed. And that's pretty much it for the tournament format. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. So now let's get into the sign up and show you how it works. So here we have, is it actually shown correctly in OBS? Yeah, it's good enough. So tournament information, this is what we've read essentially. Here's the link to the document I have read to you. Link to Discord again. So have you understood the rules of the tournament after watching this video? I hope you do. So press yes. Then you have requirements to join. Do you have at least 1 tier 7 unit? Well, you have to if you want to take part. Then you have, are you available for at least 2 to 3 hours during the tournament? So you don't have to be available for the entire 4 to 6 hours. It will be fine if you're a little bit late or join only for the early stages of the tournament. Because, well, we know that time zones are a thing, and maybe some of you cannot wake up at 6 AM on Sunday. I mean, you should be able to if you set up your alarm clock, but maybe for some of you it's not feasible. So let's say you wake up at 7, and then you'll just join your team after you wake up. And the other way around, it's mostly concerning the Asian players, because for them it can go up to 3 AM, 4 AM, even 5 AM I think for some Australians. I don't remember the exact time zones right now, but yeah, it can get pretty really late. So yeah, if they just join for the beginning of the tournament and then just have to go to sleep, that's 100% understandable. That rule is mainly for the Asians. Well, it's not a rule, right? But it's okay if you're not available for the entire of the tournament. Just go and sign up, and let your commanders, captains know that you won't be available for that long, or for the entire duration of the tournament. And now, your basic information. So you have to know what's your name in Total War Arena. So for me, it's SUNTZU Mishu. Discord name is Mishu. Discord ID, I think it's 9179, without the number sign or hashtag as we call today. And yeah, join the Discord if you haven't already, just in case you have to join the Discord. I know it's maybe insulting for you to ask you for the same thing for the third time or fourth, depending on how you look at this tournament. But we had cases in the previous tournament where we have asked people multiple times to join the Discord and they still haven't joined the Discord. So, better safe than sorry. Did you join Discord? Yes. And now you essentially declare what units you have or are willing to play. And same with the commanders. So for me, I don't have Centurion, I have Veteran Legionaries, and I can play them with Germanicus, Scipio, and Julius Caesar, I guess. I'm fine with all of them. Don't have Sulla. Legionary Cavalry. Well, I have Legionary Cavalry, I have Germanicus, but I'm not going to play Germanicus Cavalry. Well, I'm not going to play because I'm going to cast, but if I were playing. But I can play them on Scipio, and I can play them on Caesar, I guess. Same with Javelins, and don't have the Dream units. Right? Then you do the same for Greek units, so I can play this and this. Well, I guess Singus. I have Oxmen, I can play them on Armies and Vercingetorix, same with Cavalry. And Archers I can play on Ambiorix. I can also play them on the Vercingetorix and Arminius, I guess, because they somewhat make sense on those two commanders as well. Obviously not as much as on Ambiorix, but maybe my captains wants me to play that. But I'm not gonna play Foxmen on Ambiorix, So even though that combo is possible for you, right, it doesn't mean you have to tick it, because some combos just don't make sense. Carthage, yeah, I can play Boy Spearman, I can play Cavalry, there we go. For China, yeah, I can play these, I can play them on Sun Ren, I guess, as well. I can play the Glaives, and I can play Cavalry on Sun Ren Guan Yu. I think that it is, I don't have, so I just don't select anything in here. There we go. You're signed up. And now if I go into answers to this questionnaire, I will be able to see you. And then the captains will be able to see it, most importantly, and then they will draft you into your team. But that's it. That's the format of SUNTZU Invitational III. Again, I'm sorry for no fancy graphics or whatever, but as I said, I just returned from my vacation, and then immediately after I got back, I got super ill. And yeah, that essentially delayed everything for me. So very sorry for that. I hope you will forgive me. and I hope to see you on SUNTZU Invitational III, Commanders.